I think we're about to experience and see a massive shift in the agency and service provider landscape. And I'm talking about a pivot that could make or break the future of your business. And I don't say that with any sort of fear mongering going on. I just think the changes that are happening in the marketplace, some people will pay attention to it and shift. Some people won't. And business is going to be a lot harder that they're going to question alternatives. So here's who I think should be listening to this video. This is a different video than I've ever created. And quite frankly, I'm making this video because the fact that I'm seeing this shift and I don't see anybody else really talking about it is shocking to me. And so I just felt called to share this message with you. So here's who I think should listen. If you are an agency owner, a service provider, a consultant, freelancer, expert freelancer, and you have experienced some growth over the last few years, especially during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, maybe things grew really well, you invested in growth, but now things have stalled. Growth has stalled, margins are tighter, sales cycles are getting longer, getting clients is getting a little more difficult. Maybe you're experiencing higher churn and you feel like you're kind of on this like ongoing hamster wheel and it's tiring and you're exhausted. And you're at the point where you're maybe saying things like, I feel like I built a trap, or I'm burning out. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you're not even paying yourself as much money as you used to or that you want to be making. And you're questioning, is all of this work I'm putting in even worth it anymore? And you might even be falling out of love with the craft, the skill that led you to creating an agency in the first place. Maybe you feel like you're kind of like an accidental agency owner. You know, you went out on your own, or maybe you got laid off from the agency you were at and you had to start making money. And so you started, and now like the calling of I need to make more money means I need more clients, I need to hire more help. And that cycle continues. If that's you, then this is really who that video is for. And if you're like, why should I even listen to this guy? And you're new to this channel, my name is Greg Hickman. I'm the founder of a company called Alt Agency. And since like 2017, we've coached and consulted over 800 agency owners, service providers, and consultants. Y'all self-identify as a variety of different things, mostly companies that are doing between like $150,000 a year up to, I'd say 3 million is kind of like the sweet spot. And we've had some that are above that. But many of the clients that we have served over the last handful of years, I think have been experiencing a lot of many of you might be experiencing. And so I'm recording this because I've just had so many conversations, especially in the last 6 months, that I mainly want you to know that you're not alone and that there are things that you can do and consider to reimagine, redesign your business. So let's talk about the shift that I'm seeing. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of burnout. I think a lot of people are realizing that they are currently in a vehicle that they do not enjoy being in, trying to hit a goal that either is important, but becoming less important because of the vehicle that they're in, or they just realize they blindly adopted someone else's goal. Like the goal of hitting 7 figures in their agency is really just because you can't scroll through Facebook without someone telling you that you have to scale and have hundreds of appointments every single week. And I think a lot of people are realizing that they also value their life. Coming out of the pandemic, which is one reason we're feeling this, is we are finally able to not be online all the time. By spending so much time online, many people are finally thankful that they can go outside and not on social media as much. They have more negative relationships with social media. And on top of that, there's still hundreds of new things that are competing for their attention every single day. They have families, they have hobbies, they want to get back into those things that they maybe neglected or didn't put enough time to because their business was growing like everybody else's business was growing during the pandemic. And if that's the case, you're seeing the byproduct of all of this. And that means we need to rethink our business. So this is, again, for you, if because of all that, feel like you've built something that you don't love anymore. And we have to come to terms with the fact that the economic climate and the marketing climate for agencies and services has fundamentally shifted. And if you were riding high from 2020 to 23 and now things are slow, then we need to think about how we're going to keep growing our business. And we're also competing with things like the fact that many businesses want to continue to bring things in-house. There's a call for more with less. And I think you want that too. You're having difficulty getting clients or challenges in sales because people are slow to respond because they're questioning, can I do this in-house more affordably with, AI-enabled solutions, or can I offshore and find talent overseas, or whatever the other reason is. All the reasons that your sales cycle cycles are slower are also reasons why you want more time, more freedom, because you're asking yourself the same thing. How can I do more with less? Do I need to work 60+ hour weeks, nights and weekends to build the income that I intended to when I went out and built my own agency? And more, the answer is probably not. You don't have to keep growing and getting more and more clients just to hit the income you want. There are more one-person businesses and small companies, under 5 employees that are generating multiple 7 figures with 40 to 50+% margins in the world today than there were even 3-5 years ago, let alone a decade ago. My team is fundamentally 4 full-time people, 2 of which are overseas, with a handful of fractional part-time help, and we're able to generate 7 figures while most of us working 4-day work weeks. And so I've been optimizing for profit and freedom and time with family and time for my hobbies really for the last years. And so I just see a lot of other folks now craving that clear schedule, less headache, less overwhelm that comes from being on calls all day, being on sales calls, being on client calls all day. And as a service provider, getting more and more clients, the traditional model leads to needing more and more people, which then requires you to be more of a manager, have more meetings, have more client meetings. And it's kind of a cycle, as you can already imagine. So I believe that 2025 and beyond, you're going to start to see more agencies and service providers like yourself choose profit, choose to maybe even not scale to 7 figures, but just take home $300,000 to $500,000 a year working 3 to 4 days a week. And if that's you, then again, I want to let you know that there is a pathway. And the shift is coming from a place that the lines between being an agency owner on one side and then a software company on the other end of the spectrum, to the creator economy, to coaching, consulting, all of that, all of the lines between those labels is the blurriest that it's ever been. It almost to the point where the word agency doesn't even really mean anything anymore. And that's an opportunity, because if you are anything like me or like many of the 800 clients that we've worked with, you have a skill, you have expertise and experience, maybe from the agency that you came from. Maybe you were the guy or the gal behind a big name, right? We were behind people like Dan Martell, Jasmine Starr, Jonathan Lee Dumas of Entrepreneurs on Fire. We were building a lot of their sales and marketing funnels, and we developed a reputation, and we knew a lot of stuff. We knew how to help them make a lot of money, and we wanted to go do it for ourselves. Maybe that's who you are. But nonetheless, you have skills and expertise that can be monetized. And up until now, the only way that you've chosen to monetize that is through selling your time and your labor in the form of a service or an agency. And at Alt Agency, we believe that the best way, the simplest and best way to have a high 6-figure income while working 3 to 4 days a week with a very lean team, very high profit focused, is by having multiple income streams that allow you to scale your profits by selling your expertise, selling your thinking, packaging that up into deliverables like training, consulting, workshops, digital products that complement you working with a small handful of clients. So if you're a service provider and you wish you could work with like 10 or 12 clients, but still hit all your financial goals, but the math doesn't play out, well, if you also offered training or membership or community, which are all things that many people in your market probably want and need, and that you can sell and package, having the right blueprint will give you the playbook, will give you the plan to make a lot more money without having to just keep working more hours, without having to just hire another 2 employees to serve the next 10 clients. And so this is the shift that's happening. You're going to see more people prioritize profit over top line, choose their schedule over, some other fancy accolade. And people want to get back to having time for hobbies. I go mountain biking every Wednesday and Friday because I don't want to give that up. I want to be able to pick my kids up from school and take them to school every single morning and not have to be on calls all day. And so if you're an agency owner, service provider that is feeling this and starting to see this and thought that the only way is more clients, again, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments if I'm the only one that has been talking about this, because I haven't seen many people talking about this. But what I did was put together a case study. It's 33 pages and there's a video to go along with it, walking through how we made the shift from kind of that overworked, overwhelmed, underpaid agency that was stuck at, 50 to 70K a month, and really pivoted to design a business that is built around our lifestyle and gets us paid for our expertise, not just our services. So if that sounds interesting, in the description below, I put together the case study where you can download that and watch the training on how I transitioned and the key ingredients of how you can too, from the scale at all costs, I need to have this big multi-million, $10 million, $100 million exit, to a fun business that you love, working with clients that you love, getting them results that matter on a schedule that is your terms, paying you what you deserve, and an income that lets you have an abundant lifestyle for you and your family. If that sounds like something that would be beneficial, check it out in the description. And again, in the comments, let me know if you've been feeling this way and you feel like a change needs to be made. We're here to support you. More on this topic if this resonates. Let me know if just what you're feeling, experiencing, like I've seen and have been hearing, is what you're experiencing. I'd love to know in the comments, and let's make it a safe and comfortable place to share down there. And I'll talk to you in the next one.